Hello and welcome. My name is Klis. You are now in our headquarters here in Herrenberg, in the south of Germany, close to Stuttgart, or actually also nearby the Black Forest. In this building, there are a little bit more than 80 employees who are working in 70 countries around the world. The key areas in which we are working is strategy, corporate and brand design, packaging, structural design, and of course the point of sale. The company founding was in 1995. In the first 2 years, actually, we doubled or tripled even the business by hiring 2 more people. And in 1997, which was a fantastic year, because this was where we were invited to participate in the global pitch on the brand Nescafé. The brand Nescafé is the #1 coffee brand in the world and the biggest brand for Nestlé, so it was a fantastic task. And luckily we won that pitch. So this was, of course, a great starting point for us and also to grow and develop in Nestlé. In 2004, we moved our headquarters into Atlantis, where we are today. Very beautiful building with great people, great designers, great consultants, which are mainly coming from the customer side, have a lot of experience on your insights, on your knowledge. We have our own supermarket here in the building with more than 100,000 products from around the world. We have a photo studio where we do the food pictures for Maggi and many more brands in Australia and many markets. In 2007, actually, there was also another very interesting period in Roman Klis design history. We developed our new tools and we tested our tools for the first time in Middle East. And from that time onwards, they are helping us and they are helping us developing brands to good growth. And since 2012, we are now working in more than 70 markets around the world. Our goal for Roman Klis Design is to become the #1 brand in FMCG, not in size, not in profitability, but in growth for the brands on which we are working. As you can see, we are working in quite a lot of countries. Of course, a lot of products are available in more or less every market and in every marketplace around the world. But with this map, we want to express where we fly in, do store checks, try to understand the shopper behavior at the point of sale, whether it's a supermarket, a hypermarket, a bakkal in Turkey, mom and pop stores in India, and also to understand consumer insights. Bring all this knowledge back to Germany, combined also with the packagings. And those packagings we have here in our supermarket, where we have now more than 100,000 SKUs. Creating success. Our claim, of course, has a very nice double meaning. Creativity on one side, on the other side success. And this is exactly what we want to deliver. We want to have a perfect, beautiful, creative design work on one side. On the other side, it must be based on a clear strategy, which at the end should lead to success. And exactly our tools are based on this topic, to which we will come now. Strategic brand building. Our first tool, and a very, very important tool, obviously, because it helps us to understand the consumer and the shopper behavior. So for example, you in consumer modus have a certain decision tree, and you in shopper modus, interestingly, might have a different decision tree. And the decision tree rate is 72% different when you are in consumer mode versus when you are in shopper modus, which is of course very interesting and obviously leads to different designs. And consumer design is looking many times completely different than a shopper design. So this is the first thing that we are trying to understand, the consumer and the shopper behavior and their decision tree. The next thing what we are trying to do is to see the category codes, which are the category codes that are relevant in a certain area and category, and which are the global mega trends, then leading to design trends, which also have a highly impact on the work of our strategic brand building tool. The second part, and also a very, very crucial part, is the path to purchase. Our goal is always to communicate at the path to purchase 5 meter, 3 meter, 1 meter product. So 5 meter means in the main aisle, 3 meter means you just entered the aisle in which you want to buy your product, and 1 meter means in arm's length in front of the product. And here to communicate faster the relevant information than the competitor does it. This is our goal. Very simple and very focused. The third and last chapter is iconic brand building. We analyzed the 200 most valuable brands on earth and we wanted to find out what makes them so valuable. So it's actually 7 elements which you can own and which you can register for your brand. Ideally, you can register them for your brand. Honestly speaking, so far there's only one brand that has achieved 5, which is Coca-Cola. And the rest are, let's say, between 3 and 4 if they're in the ranking of the 200 most valuable brands on earth. So ideally you can own all 7, which means color, shape, design, appetite appeal, brand, texture and sound. So let's start with our first case, confectionery, and especially here the brand Klis. Klis is in Switzerland more or less the Volkswagen. I mean, it's the big classic in Switzerland, a really huge, wide range of products, more or less in 100-gram tablets, so far only. And now they will start to launch a new product in 200 grams. What's the problem? The problem is huge because the 100-gram and the 200-gram have exactly the same size. The only difference is the height. 100 gram is that high, 200 gram is that high. So as a shopper, you wouldn't see it. Okay, now let's use our tools. The first thing what we did was we analyzed what do we really want to own. Second, how do we communicate this to the consumer and the shopper? And we clearly found out that we need to convince the shopper the most. So what we are trying to do is we first want to communicate at 5 meter the color. Second, at 3 meter, the perfection of imperfection, as we call this, beautiful food appeal, which is not perfect. And then at 1 meter, the brand. So these are the things and the element that we want to communicate at 5, 3, 1 product. So what did we do? We have a very strong color, for example here for the hazelnut variant in blue. You have roughly almost 60 to 70% of the packaging, because this here is hidden in the tray. 60 to 70% of the packaging is appetite appeal with huge chunks, so you can clearly see the product, especially when you compare it with the 100 gram, where you have only one piece on the front of the pack and small ingredients. So the ingredients much bigger and very easy to see. Again, so this is the 3 meter point. To come to the 5 meter point, we need clear color differentiation via color, what you can also see here. This launch has now become one of the most successful launches in the history of Klis. Let's come to another beautiful case. Maggi Juicy Chicken. The Juicy Chicken is one of the key launches in the last years of Maggi. It should become more or less everywhere in the world very successful because it also tested very successful with consumers. But the interesting thing, of course, as usual for us, is to look at the consumer plus the shopper, and especially the shopper decision tree. The shopper decision tree, for example, the number one is color, so visibility. And the second most important information is the juicy chicken bag, because this is the USP, the new innovation, the new idea, which makes the people buy the product. So just to give you one example, this is still a comparably good example. So you have all the information on the front of the pack, but, and as we did the design, so I'm allowed to talk about it, but it can be a little bit tough, because on one hand you have the Maggi, you have this juicy from the oven, you don't have to add oil, keeps the oven clean, you have the bag with bag inside, the variant, and the information what you need to buy with it, plus the appetite appeal. A shopper, for example, is only able to take 3 information, not more than this. So another design from the Middle East region, which is very nice, because it has clear color coding at 5 meters, so strong visibility. At 3 meter, the juicy chicken bag, which is, by the way, registered for Maggi, so Knorr is not even allowed to use it on the front of the bag, which is hilarious. And then the rest of the information which you can get on 1 meter or on product level as reassurance. So the interesting story is that Knorr made advertisement, they spent a lot of money, more than 20 million Swiss francs, to support the category and the new range. And the result was that Knorr was growing 4%, and Maggi, even without advertisement, was growing in the whole mixer segment. So not only the juicy chicken, in the whole mixer segment, 203%. Why this? Because you could clearly get the information prior to any other brand and any other competitor. Synergies and efficiency, a very interesting topic to touch. There are actually 3 layers which I want to touch first. One part is the strategic part, the second part is the creative part, the creativity, and the third part is the rollout, the adaptation. Let me first start with the strategy part. So just to give you an idea, we did an analysis on consumer and shopper behavior in France. Big analysis, big research, lots of interesting news. We could use exactly the same news, the same consumer and shopper information in Greece. This is one part of synergies. Second part of synergies is obviously the creative work. When we developed this creative concept for Klis, obviously in any market that is coming now with the same concept, they can build on the thinking and the creative work that was already developed for the Klis market, for Switzerland. So here, for example, we had 6 different design philosophies in the early stage, which can be shared with no additional costs with any market. And then, of course, the last part, the adaptation, synergy part, Nescafé. Fantastic example, 32 markets where we have been working on the rollout. The front panel was more or less fixed, but on the back panel there was still a lot of work to be done. So what we did in the markets where we worked, we developed, for example, in this case for Germany, the front and the back, and all the other markets could use synergies and could build on the existing knowledge that was developed for Germany. Synergies. The picture pool, a fantastic area. 36,000 pictures are belonging to Nestlé, which are in our archives. We made photo shootings for confectionery, dairy, hot beverages, ice cream, infant nutrition, pet food, waters, and food. And just to give you one example, Maggi, for example, we just had recently made pictures in Australia, Malaysia, India, Middle East, Germany, and many more markets. Only the food pictures in Roman Klis design are 17,000, which are globally belonging to Nestlé and could be used timeless and with no additional costs. The virtual supermarket, or the perfect store as we call it, is a fantastic tool. It gives you the possibility of testing your new packaging design in the real shelf environment. So you can, for example, see from 5 meter, 3 meter, 1 meter product, how your packaging is performing in shelf. Does it easily navigate the shopper to the product? Now one example, Germany. 320 SKUs with 3 different concepts we wanted to test in a real shelf environment. The mock-up costs would have been 1.2 million euros. And just to give you a feeling, the flight through a supermarket is 1,850, no matter how many SKUs you have in there. So huge cost saving on that point. To sum it up, first, it's crucial to understand consumer and shopper with strategic brand building. How is the decision made? Then communicate faster the relevant information to the shopper than the competitor does at 5-3-1 product. And everything what you do, make it unique and ownable so that you can register it. Then of course, a very important sector is use synergies. We are working in more than 70 countries around the world for Nestlé, and there are many opportunities of using synergies. For example, on the strategy, on the creation, design development, on adaptation, on our picture pool, and on the perfect store. In all these sectors, we have developed a lot of topics, a lot of ideas. They are all free without incremental costs. They can be shared with Nestlé globally. So thank you very much for your time. Hope to see you soon, and goodbye.